Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. Buongiorno, buonasera, bon dia, boa tarde, boa noite, and good morning, good evening, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Apologies, Jay Slater case, apologies for the last video that got cut off. Don't know why. That does happen sometimes. I don't think I touched anything. It just decided to end when it did. There was not much more to say anyway. If you didn't see it, it was a big plug for justice4j.com. It is the new place to be. Notifications, comments, posts, and as the site grows, there will be discussion aplenty on justice4j.com. This one, another brief video, could be a terrific Tuesday. It is Tuesday, 7th of April. I'm going to try to put out a few videos today and then tomorrow deal with the whole stack, absolute stack of emails, private messages, etc., that are flooding in. I can't keep up with it. So I will have to, I think, dedicate a whole day to that. But for this one, I just wanted to air the possibility that the Spanish Masca faction of what I think is a narco gang over there in Tenerife might actually be a lot closer to the Brit faction that we see down in the Los Cristianos area, because in discussion with Wax and with Jan, one of the things we were trying to figure out was how close, how interacted are how integrated are the two sides? Because initially you'd think, well, Ofelia, Ramon, Roman, Juan Diaz, the rest of them up in Masca, they really have nothing to do with, Brandon, Dylan, anyone else allegedly that might be involved in the narco trade down there on the Adeje, Playa de las Americas, Los Cristianos part of the island. Um, and on the surface, that would seem to be true, that, just because the Airbnb happened to be used, um, seems like the connection maybe Roman, dastardly, dodgy Mayor Roman knows Ayub, and, Ophelia and Ramon are ignorant. They're just like these old folks up in Mascot. They don't know who's staying there. They don't really care as long as, Roman can get a booking and get the money rolling in. So yeah, not much of a connection. I mean, Ayub, to me, Ayub seems to know Roman, just that very friendly, muchas gracias, Roman, for all your help and the cleaning Alva, blah. It just seemed a little, for a one night stay or a two-night stay, seemed a little maybe too friendly. I don't know. I just think maybe the Ayub Roman connection is there, but on the surface, Ophelia, Ramon, Araceli, the rest of them, it is hard to believe they would have a connection with the Brit faction. But let us turn that around and let's speculate that, in fact, they are very closely connected. It might not seem logical, it might not seem plausible, but let us imagine, for the sake of argument, that they all know each other very, very well. Um, Let us, for the sake of argument, say that the likes of Brandon, Lucy, um, well, maybe not Jay, because Jay wasn't there. Jay went for the first time. But let's just say maybe Dylan, Brandon, Lucy, and that lot, maybe they do know the old folk up in Masca pretty well. And maybe, I don't know, I'm going to go out on a limb here and speculate that maybe round about the time of the Jay Slater death, maybe there was this coming together, so to speak, of the Brit faction and the Masca faction. I guess what I'm driving at here is that, we did hear that Brandon had a child the not long after Jay's death. And I'm just wondering, did we ever find out for sure who the mother of that child was? I mean, is it not possible that Dylan said, Brandon, um, we really need to gel, so to speak, somewhat more with the Spanish lot up in Masca. Could you not go up there and wine and dine, Araceli, Ophelia even, take one for the team and have a good time up there? I mean, who knows? Could it be possible that Brandon's reported baby, mother being Araceli? Horrific thought of the day, mother being lonely heart Ophelia. Ophelia's hubby, ex-hubby, Nicolas Bayet. No one's ever, it seems, seen him, knows anything about him. I don't know. Could the Brandon love child be an offspring, an Ophelia offspring? Very unlikely. And yet, as I say, we really don't know anything about the Spanish Masca connection and the Brit connection down in South Tenerife in the Adeje area. We don't know how close they might or might not be. But I mean, yeah, if anyone does happen to go by the Masca Cafe and they notice this, well, I guess it's not a baby anymore. I mean, if the Brandon kid is now a toddler, if you happen to see this little kid wandering around all the tables at Ophelia's cafe, causing mischief, and what a freak of nature that kid would be. I mean, I would imagine he's speaking Spanish with a Canarian accent and then switches to English with a Burnley accent. Can you imagine what that sounds like? This little kid kind of wandering around the Masca Cafe tables going, yeah, ma'am, look what I found on table 5. Looks like an AP. Could be a Rolly. I don't know. It was next to the table where there was that one Somali kid. Well, no, two Somali kids. I'm not sure, not sure. Anyway, yeah, found a watch for me, man. Found a watch for. Well, when I say found a watch, it was some Eastern European guy. Eastern Europe, speaking Romanian, I think. Speaking, yeah. Well, when I say found the watch, yeah, I did have to smack him in the mouth and rip it off his wrist. But I mean, kind of found him. Finders keepers, man. Finders keepers. Hey, man, do you think Uncle Ayub could sell this for 10 quid? I'm just saying, the Brandon love child may well have helped to, let's say, combine this force, what it seems to me, allegedly a force for evil, into something that is, I don't know, bigger than we thought. They all know each other. And as I say, horrific thought of the day, maybe through Brandon or someone like that, they're actually related. I don't know. The few words I had with Araceli didn't sound like she had the Lancashire accent, but you never know. We got to keep an eye on that freak of nature, the offspring. What will he turn out to be? But on a serious note, I did want to speculate somewhat on how Ophelia actually learnt about the missing boy, because I dwelled on and I spent a bit, well, I spent probably a bit too much time on trying to reconstruct that moment when Ophelia comes out and happens to meet Jay at the bus stop that wasn't in use at that point of time. And then I wanted to extend that thought to throwing out there, how did Ophelia actually learn about the missing boy? How did that happen? Because Ophelia apparently drives off to Buena Vista to, what was her mission there? I think she was on a mission to pay some insurance, or it was some kind of insurance payment that had to be made. I would have thought all that is done online these days. Even an old fogey like me doesn't really like the idea of traveling somewhere just to make a payment. But anyway, for the sake of argument, let's say Ophelia is old school. She likes her drive to Buena Vista to make the insurance payment at 8 in the morning. Okay. I don't know many insurance places that are open at 8:30, 9 in the morning in Spain. It's possible. Let's go with it. Ophelia drives to Buena Vista to make her insurance payment. Right. She passes the boy and she recognizes the boy. It's the same one that had that weird conversation about the bus. Got it. Ophelia then comes back at some point from doing her insurance stuff in Buena Vista. She comes back. Now, at the point that Ophelia comes back to her place, obviously she has no idea what has happened to that boy. In her interview, she says she says she doesn't know what happened to him after she passed him. Well, obviously she doesn't know what happened to him. I don't know why she said that. Got no idea what happened to him. She said something weird. She said, I don't know if he turned off on another road. I've been up that road. I haven't been all the way up to Buena Vista walking, but I don't see another road. It is one twisty turny road. That's it. Now, if she meant turned off on another route, on a footpath, yeah, possible. But she actually said road. I thought that was a strange thing to say. Ophelia knows there's only one road. What other road, Ophelia, could he have turned off on? He was on the road. But anyway, she doesn't know what happened to him. She gets back. Now, when she gets back, at what point does Ophelia then learn that the boy she passed is missing, is lost somewhere? I don't understand how she finds that out. I don't think it would be necessarily on her mind. She passed the boy, he was going in the wrong direction. Oh well. I wouldn't then assume, by the way, I wouldn't assume that the guy got in any kind of danger. I'd have thought he's just walking the wrong way. He'll find out when he doesn't get to Santiago that he's gone the wrong way. He'll find out when he sees a bus going the other way. I wouldn't worry that much. So what I'm saying is I imagine Ophelia gets home and she doesn't really think that much about it. So is it then likely that her first inkling that something's not right is when Lucy speaks to her? Because Lucy goes up round about midday. Remember, Rocky's still sleeping in the car. Lucy arrives with Lena Patel, who we haven't heard of since then. That's also weird. Again, if this were all an accident, why has Lena Patel not said anything? All Lena Patel has to say is, yeah, I drove Lucy there and, we spent the day trying to figure things out. Lena Patel, silence. Why? Um, so Lucy then, I think, she has her few words with Ayub, and then she goes to check with Ophelia to see if Ophelia knows anything. Presumably in that conversation, and this is what Mark Williams Thomas has related to us, that there's a language barrier there. Lucy's trying to, communicate what happened to the boy Jay, and Lucy understands from Ophelia's marching action that she saw Jay walking up the road, or she saw the boy walking up the road the wrong way up the hill. But I don't think that conversation goes much beyond that. Again, so at that point, Ophelia's not, she's just reported what she saw to Lucy. Does Lucy tell Ophelia, well, I've reported him lost, missing person? Again, Ophelia's probably going to go, oh, okay, I guess, okay, he's missing, he's lost. I still don't see at what point Ophelia gets rather concerned about this or does anything about it. Is there any point where Ophelia actually knows where Jay's last location was? Do you think in that conversation with Lucy, if it really happened, that Lucy shows Ophelia where Jay's last location was? My point is, if Lucy is asking Ophelia about what happened to Jay, and Ophelia doesn't know, she just says, I drove by it. do Lucy and Ophelia then work together to try to figure something out? Does Lucy get out her screenshot and say, this is where he was when his phone died? Do you know where this is, Ophelia? Ophelia would say, yeah, of course I do. At which point, again, we get to this barrier. And the barrier is no one wants to go to Jay's last known location to find him. And this is what I find strange. If in the Lucy Ophelia conversation, Lucy and Ophelia discover that, yes, that last known location is just a few minutes' drive up the road, at that point, neither Lucy nor Ophelia, it seems, say, let's get in the car then and go up there to see if he's just sat there. I keep getting back to this Jay sat there waiting for someone to come because in another video, previous video, I said we have not only, it was mentioned early doors that Lucy, Brad, and Brandon all refused. Yeah, they thought about it and refused to go to where Jay's last location was. But I was saying the list is much greater than that. Ayub refused to go and check that last known location. Rocky refused to go and check that last known location. Debbie Duncan, when she landed Tuesday morning, refused to go to that last known location, as did Zach, as did Rach. None of them went there. This whole list of people all refused to go to that last known location. Now, I'm going to add Ophelia's name to the list here because it seems very likely when Lucy and Ophelia with the language barrier were trying to communicate what can you tell me about the missing boy, at some point Lucy must surely have shown Ophelia this was where he was. Yeah, this was where he was. And yet, if Ophelia saw that, Ophelia said, well, I can't be bothered to drive there and look. Or that was the end of the conversation. I don't know. To me, it's all very strange. So let me know in your comments what you think about how that conversation went and why Ophelia didn't just jump in her car and go up there a few minutes to see if he was there. One last thing about this Ophelia Lucy conversation. In this conversation, Ophelia, as Airbnb owner, surely would have been very curious to know who the boy was. Because I don't think it's in the nature of an Airbnb owner to have a booking, let's say with the two men that booked it. She's got their details. Yeah. Ayub Abdul Kasim and Stephen Fortes Rocas. They're the two names on the booking. She's got their passport details, the standard Airbnb booking. You submit your ID at the time of booking. We got that. But the Airbnb owner is naturally curious as to someone else that's there. Most Airbnb owners will make it very clear the booking is for the people that booked it. It's not free for all for any visitor just to show up and spend as much time as they want there. So Ophelia, old school that she is, I would imagine, would also be curious to ask Lucy, well, who is this boy? Why was he there? What does Lucy then say about that? I mean, absent from this whole story is the Masker perspective on why this boy was there. Who is he and what's going on? I would love to know what is in the background to the Masker side of the story. What conversations did Ophelia and Roman have? Who the hell have you booked into our place? This doesn't feel good. The whole conversation between Ophelia and brother Ramon. This isn't what we expected when we wanted an Airbnb and our spare property here. All we had from Ophelia was that very scripted interview and nothing else. So, could it be that it is the Spanish lot up in Masca that if they were in the right mood to talk about this, would they come forward and say, yeah, everything that happened, pretty much a mystery to us. We're not happy with it. But when Ophelia drove by him, in retrospect, She can't 100% be sure that it was the boy that went missing and ended up dead in the ravine. That's where I'm driving with this. It's a long shot. It's a really long shot to get just one of the Spanish crew to talk about it and maybe confess that and admit it. But it's increasingly my feeling that they don't know a whole lot about what's going on. I was just joking, obviously, about the Brandon love child. I mean, stranger things have happened, but I don't think the Masker lot are very much connected to what's going on the other side of the island. And for that reason, they might be the ones that would be more open. I mean, there's no consequence to them. They live in Tenerife. They're not going to have Lancashire Constabulary knocking on their door saying, hello, 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 what's going on here? Um, don't know. I'm going to leave it there. I've got lots more to get through. But yeah, the Masca and Los Cristianos connection, is it real? Is it not? And that Lucy Ophelia conversation, where did that go? And why do we hear nothing about the Masca crew just being curious beyond belief as to who the boy was? It's a missing part of the jigsaw puzzle. All right. Hasta luego. Adios. Hasta la próxima. Justice4j.com. Please go there. This is something very special that is going to help our communications a lot, I feel. Adios.